that's where I was struggling with the, like, do I just pretend I'm not? Do I just, do all these things? Because my biggest fear was losing him. And then as I kept doing the internal work and stuff, my biggest fear became us staying together and us not being happy. So and which is a weird thing, because like, it was like I was holding on so tightly to like, I don't want this to change. But as soon as I like was able to loosen my grip and work through those fears, it moved into, okay, now we're creating something beautiful. It's different than it was, but it's still beautiful. The love is still there, right?
Welcome to Normalizing Non-Monogamy, the podcast where we interview incredible people from all over the world to hear their personal journeys of self-discovery through the lenses of love, sex, and relationships.
Our mission is to show people that they're not alone and to inspire them to embrace their true selves so that together we can open minds and live authentically without shame.
We believe everyone's story is powerful and beautiful, yet it's important to remember that everyone does life a little bit differently and that the views and opinions expressed by our guests do not necessarily reflect our own.
Additionally, we aren't doctors. Please consult a medical professional for anything regarding your health that you might learn about on the show. Enjoy!
Welcome to episode 449. We're Finn and Emma, and today we have a lovely interview with Naomi. Naomi sort of woke up to the fact that she's polyamorous a few years ago, but looking back on her life, she's realized polyamory is actually part of her identity, and now everything around relationships makes so much more sense.
Yeah, and what's so wild about this is that even when it makes more sense, unfortunately, the shame doesn't just disappear and melt away. Naomi talks a lot about the shame she's had to work through over the years around her religious upbringing and feeling like she's put her husband through something he never really signed up for. One of the other things we love about Naomi's story is how she and her husband basically threw away all of the relationship scripts, not just for polyamory, not just for monogamy, for all of it, and just created something that works well for the both of them. She's polyamorous, he's monogamous, and they're figuring it out. They've shifted the romantic and sexual relationship, but have stayed married and now live with her boyfriend, and her husband also has a girlfriend. We absolutely love stories like this where people throw away all of the norms and scripts and blaze their own path. That is one of the things that Emma and I truly believe is that there is no right way to do relationships. And Naomi's story and what her and her husband and their partners are doing is such a perfect example of this.
Naomi also talks a bit about her work throughout the interview. She's a life coach and also has created a community empowering polyamorous folks to create resilient relationships rooted in trust, connection, and freedom. You can find links to all of Naomi's work in the show notes found in your podcast player or over on our website, normalizingnonmonogamy.com. Just click on the podcast tab and everything is right there.
And Naomi also sticks around to answer some bonus questions for our premium subscribers. If you're not familiar, our premium subscribers get ad-free podcast episodes plus a 10 to 15 minute bonus episode every single week where our guests answer some extra questions and give us a chance to get to know them even deeper than we do during our regular interview. You can sign up on the homepage of our website, normalizingnonmonogamy.com. Just scroll all the way to the bottom and you'll find all the information there to join for just $4 a month.
And with that, it's time to jump right into the interview with Naomi for all of our premium subscribers. And for everyone else, we do have a few announcements.
First up, we wanted to tell you all about our community. We tell you about this every single week, and we're biased, but we think it's one of the best places on the internet, and that's why we tell you about it.
That's true.
So we lead a community of over 300 people who socialize and support one another every single day. We host our community on a platform called Mighty Networks. We host monthly community support, Zoom calls, monthly virtual workshops, and in-person events as well, all for less than $10 a month. Our next monthly workshop is coming up July 22nd. It is called Embracing Conflict, and it is hosted by taught by Becky Calloway and Melanie Rowan. We actually had Becky on our last monthly workshop in June, which members of our community also get recordings of our past workshops. So right now, if you join the community, you get access to almost 20 recordings of past workshops, and you can learn more about what all those workshops are over under the workshop tab of our website. So to sum that all up, you get community support, Zoom calls, monthly virtual workshops, in-person events, and recordings of all of our past workshops for less than $10 a month. We'd love to have you join us, and you can find more information about how to apply and join under the community tab of our website, once again at normalizingnonmonogamy.com.
Next up, we wanted to remind all of you about our favorite way to get tested for STIs. Yes, we have a favorite way.
And you should too.
This is a service that Finn and I use. We've been using it for years. It is STD Check. naomicheck.com. It is fast, easy, and discreet. And when you use the links over on the resources tab of our website, you get $10 off, making a 10-panel test only $129. And you support the podcast. So thank you in advance for using those links. And thank you to everyone who has used them in the past.
Yes, thank you from my side. Your support means the world and helps us keep doing this podcast for free every single week. And the last thing we wanted to tell you all is that we would love to hear from you. Please send us an email if you have any questions, comments, or feedback, not feedback. Or best of all, if you would like to come on the podcast yourself to share your story, just like Naomi, you can reach out to us under the Contact Us tab of our website, and we'll make it happen. We'd love to have you on the show.
And with that, let's go and talk to Naomi.
Well, welcome to the podcast, Naomi. We're excited to chat today. We don't know much about you at all. We're excited to dig in and learn. So yeah, I'm going to stop talking and turn it over. Maybe just a short introduction of who Naomi is and what inspired you to reach out to come on today.
Thank you for having me to start. Yeah, my name is Naomi. I am from Alberta, Canada. And I was inspired to come on here because I just really love what you guys do. Actually, your podcast was one of the first one I started listening to when I awoke to the fact that I was polyamorous, and it meant a lot to me. So I really just kind of wanted to be a part of it and help other people as well.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm so glad you reached out.
Yeah, and thank you for contributing and sharing your story as well. And we always love that when people are like, "Hey, this is where I first learned about it, or where I first got some like my some first information about this, and now like I want to give back." So yeah, just really appreciate that.
Actually, I have a cute story about finding out about your podcast. So actually, when I woke to being polyamorous, I was like, I felt very alone. And I'm like, I didn't know anybody else. And I was like confused within myself and stuff too, because I was already in my 30s, right? So there was like all of this internal stuff going on too. Anyways, I had obviously talked to about my husband and then my friend at the time, who is now my boyfriend. And it was interesting because he's just like came up to me one day and he's like, "Oh yeah, I've been listening to this podcast and like they're talking about this and this and this." And it's kind of makes sense. I'm like, "Why are you listening to a poly podcast?" He's like, "Because you talked about it." So I was like, kind of wanted to get to know about it more. And I'm like, okay. So I started listening to it, and that was your guys' podcast. So
Amazing. So you were friends with your now boyfriend, and we're talking to him about polyamory, and then he sort of dove into it?
yeah, and then he awoke into it too. Like, oh, that actually makes sense. Like, and he's polyamorous as well. So
Cool.
Amazing.
Cool.
All right, well then let's back it up because I'm curious about
Wait, before we back it up.
We can't back it up yet.
I'm curious kind of where are you today and how you practice relationships?
So today I am obviously polyamorous. That's like identity level for me. Once I awoke into it, everything else just kind of started making sense. So at the time that I awoke into it, I was in a monogamous marriage with my husband, who is monogamous. He tried the poly thing and he's just like, yeah, no, I can't do that. He's just monogamous at his core, right? So right, I live with him and my boyfriend lives with us as well. So we all live together. Me and my husband have kind of de-escalated to best friends, roommates. Like, we're still married. That may change in the future. Like, obviously, if he wants to remarry or something. But right now, I'm just like, you know what? I'm happy to still be your wife. I love being able to call you my husband. So I'm just enjoying like present moment where I'm at with that. He does have a girlfriend, which I love. She's awesome. She understands that we're very close. We still love each other. So that's kind of, where we're at now.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing. Awesome. I always love when we get to talk to people who are doing family and relationships in ways that I think often would blow people's minds if they were to stumble and be like, wait, so you're married and your husband has a girlfriend, but he's not polyamorous, and you have a boyfriend and you live with your husband and you are polyamorous. Like, I love how this doesn't fit into any traditional box. And so I'm really grateful and excited to chat today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now I feel ready to go back.
We're allowed to go back in time now? All right, well, I'd love to go back then to the awakening. When did this happen for you?
It was, okay, first of all, I'm just going to preface this by saying I'm really weird with timelines. Like, people are like, how long have you and your husband been together? I'm like, I don't know. Like, he's the one that remembers like timelines and stuff. So I want to say few years ago is when I awoke into being polyamorous. So a few years ago. And then, I was just like kind of seeing something online talking about polyamory. And I'm just like, I think that's me. And like, I just recognized myself in the content. And then obviously you watch one thing on the internet and it starts throwing it all at you. So I'm like, the more and more I was seeing it, I'm like, oh shit, that is me. Like 100%. I started seeing like all the little trails back into like way back to when I was a little kid and I had a crush on 2 boys and somebody's like, oh no, you have to just pick one. And I'm just like, oh. And so, like it all just like made sense once I awoke into it.
Yeah. So what was your relationship history and kind of that process before that?
Relationship history. Monogamy. Like and honestly, I went through a phase of like thinking too, like you can either have that connection, be in a relationship, or you can be single and you can be free and like be yourself. And that's kind of where I was sitting with the like, you like, okay, now I'm in a relationship again because I want that connection. And then I'm like, my I think they call it like a vessel tended to be like a year. And then I'm like, no, okay, I gotta be free again. And then I'd like end the relationship and until I met my husband. And then that vessel lasted a lot longer because we were so connected and like really good at communicating and stuff. So that vessel lasted a lot longer. I'm like, oh, I found my person, the one, And then, when I started feeling more feelings again and stuff. And then I was like, oh, no, okay, well, I guess there's the polyamory just made sense at that point, right? I'm like, this checks.
Yeah. Well, and you didn't have any models or any information, it sounds like, up until that point. So you're kind of just stuck in this cycle of what I know about relationships is that you find the one person and you're with that one person. Or if you're not finding that one person, you keep monogamously dating until you find that one person. There's no other option.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Well, it sounds like too for you, there was this battle between connection, freedom. Like if I want depth of connection with somebody and I want a partner, then I can't be free. But if I'm free, that connection isn't really available.
Mm-hmm. And I think too, like I would avoid deep emotional connection being single. Like, I mean, I'd have hookups and stuff, obviously, right? But then I'm just like, I don't want to put too much emotional connection there because then they're going to have expectations of me. And all of a sudden it's like, hey, like you can't go do this. And all of a sudden those restrictions come with the monogamous relationship, right? Well,
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and it sounds like then coming to the content you're stumbling across on the internet is like, well, okay, I can have both. I can have the connection and freedom, right? And maybe it's not endless, infinite freedom, but I can explore in ways that maybe didn't seem possible before.
Mm-hmm. And two, with, I guess, I don't know what surfacing as you said that too is like, not with the shame and the guilt either, because like I feel like that was so present, in a monogamous relationship. All of a sudden you like catch a feeling for somebody else and you're like, oh, you're a horrible person, like, and you get all of this shit to work through. And that's actually what made me move into what I do for work now, which is like coaching. I did do coaching before, but it really shifted when I awoke to being polyamorous because I'm like, there's so many layers to work through of internal stuff to like be at peace with yourself and who you are. And like, especially when you haven't seen it modeled and there's people out there that are be like, you're going to hell. This is a sin. That is horrible of you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally.
Are you open to expanding a little bit about what that process was like for you?
Yeah. So when I first awoke to being polyamorous, as I said, I was in a monogamous marriage. So there was a lot of shame, a lot of guilt there. I felt horrible for my husband because I felt like he was having to go through things and grow through things that he never signed up for. So I took a lot of that on myself. And I did go through of like a lot of thoughts of like, oh, would it be better if I just wasn't here? I just didn't want him to be hurting anymore. And I was like carrying a lot of that on myself. So it just lots of communication around that and like working on it within myself, learning how to work with my nervous system and all of those things to get calm. I have done I've done that stuff for a very long time. But this was like just kind of like a whole new layer to it. I like to explain it like when I awoke to being polyamorous, it was like I was just caught in this tornado of all of these feelings and emotions and things going on internally. And I didn't know what to do with it. I just felt very like hopeless of like, oh, do I just pretend I'm not and settle? I'm like, well, then I'm not going to be happy. But also I don't want him to like feel like he has to be in a relationship because obviously the love is still there, right? And so it's like, I don't want him to be unhappy either. So that's where we kind of got to where we are today. It was just like, we both recognize how much we love each other and we both want each other to be happy. And so we've just created a dynamic that works for both of us, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it sounds like that first period of time was pretty painful, which makes sense. You're going through this process and he's going through this process, and then you're doing it separately and together.
Mm-hmm. And then he's looking for answers that I don't have too, right? Where he's like, hey, well, what about this? What about that? I'm like, I don't know. I don't have these answers for myself, and I want to be able to give you them, but I'm just as lost as you are in this right now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which is such a hard place to be, right? Like you're that moment where like, I feel like sometimes in relationships, there's like, well, hey, I'm a little bit freaking out and don't really know what's going on, but like at least my partner, I can look to my partner and they're stable and they can be there. And then when, they're freaking out, I can be there. And like to have both people in that partnership being like, I don't know, like I just discovered a whole new thing about myself and I'm learning it. And that throws everything about our relationship, at least up in the question of what we're going to do. Because right, you can say all day, well, hey, I don't want our relationship to change. I want to stay with you. But it sounds like it was more like, well, yeah, I love you, but we're going to have to change some things about how we're connected.
Mm-hmm. And that came with the internal work too, right? Like at first, the biggest fear I had was losing him. Like I was like that was something that I was like, that's where I was struggling with the like, do I just pretend I'm not? Do I just, do all these things? Because my biggest fear was losing him. And then as I kept doing the internal work and stuff, my biggest fear became us staying together and us not being happy. So which is a weird thing because I was holding on so tightly to like, I don't want this to change. But as soon as I like was able to loosen my grip and work through those fears, it moved into, okay, now we're creating something beautiful. It's different than it was, but it's still beautiful. The love is still there, right?
Yeah.
I love that you say that because I think that's it feels to be like a really important thing is you didn't come to some realization like, I don't love my husband. I don't want to be with him. I don't like our relationship. It feels, as you're explaining it, like completely independent of him. It was, this is me. And then knowing that like the fear there of that this is going to impact something that I don't want to lose. How do I be myself without maybe blowing up my life and losing something that I don't want to lose?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I'm curious, how did you, I know it's like a huge question, but like, how did you navigate that with him? How, like, curious, like, how long were you together before you sort of stumbled upon this? Yeah, approximately. I understand.
Thank you. Thank you. You know my timeline. Well, we got together in 2018. And then, I said, so like 3-ish years ago is when I woke to being polyamorous. So a while.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you were together 4 or 5 years and then this comes out and like, you're not wanting to change the relationship, end it, lose your husband. How did you two start to work towards something that would work for both of you?
Yeah.
Well, it started obviously tons of communication, lots of challenges that would surface, like feelings or whatever like that. And then where it really started changing, like at first, because I awoke to being polyamorous, but it's not like I was like, now I need to go fuck other people or date people. It wasn't like that, right? So I was just like, that was easier because it was like we were just kind of navigating it. And then I started getting feelings for my boyfriend now, which was,
who was a
my
friend at the time.
Friend at the time. Yeah. That's when the challenges really kind of started arising a lot more too. So again, just a lot of communication. Like obviously as soon as I was aware that those feelings were there, I went to my husband and like talked to him about it and everything. And so a lot of feelings, from both of us that were just communicated. And then he ended up, he's like, hey, you know what? Like, I love you. I want to make this work. I'm going to try the poly thing. And then he got a girlfriend. And then, so then I started dating my now boyfriend. And that lasted for, I think he was with her, again, timeline, a month or so ish. And then that's when he's just like, yeah, the poly thing, I can't do it. Obviously, he's not like, you need to dump him now, though. Like, he was good about it. So that's where we just kind of started de-escalating slowly. Like, and just, it wasn't like a big moment that was just like, okay, we're going to whatever. It happened slowly, right? Just like the communication. And it's just like, hey, well, I'm not feeling this. And then, well, I'm not feeling this. Well, this makes me feel good. And just working through it like that.
Yeah. And I'm curious during that time, like, there's so many conversations I imagine the two of you had to have and to work through it. But for people listening, I'm sure the question might be of like, did you consider actually separating and going separate ways? Or like how, because you tried staying together in a more romantic way and being both of you having other partners, and that didn't really work. So how did that process go of like trying to come up with the where you landed today? Of was there a discussion about separating more or not?
I think the discussion around that was just like that we loved each other and we knew we were going to be in each other's lives forever in some capacity, whatever that looks like. And I guess we did have a conversation too of like, well, that conversation, but then his mindset, because he is so monogamous, it was like still trying to figure out how we fit, because him being inside of like that monogamous box, if that makes sense, it would be like, well, I don't do this because I'm monogamous. I don't do this because I'm monogamous. Like, what if you are monogamous, I'm polyamorous, and that's okay, and we just build something that doesn't have a script, that we just, let's focus on what feels good for us and try, instead of trying to put it into either a polyamory box or a monogamous box.
Yeah.
And just build something new, a dynamic that works for both of us.
Yeah, I really love that, because you wanted to keep what was working and shift what's not working.
Yeah. No, I love that too. And I think you said it a moment ago, right? That it sounded like the main shift you had to make was, I don't want to lose him, to how do we be in each other's lives in a way that works and feels great to both of us? And I feel like that, like that's a thing to like, it's pretty easy to say, but to like actually make it happen and actually do it is like, that's a massive shift to make. Like, that's a massive mental shift to make, and it's a massive functional shift to make in a relationship I think of any kind, in my opinion. I think it's incredible that you two were able to do that.
And the nice thing too is like having each other's support as you work through the feelings that come up, or the fears. Like, we've always been very good at communicating, which I'm so grateful for, because like, obviously there's always going to be things to work through wherever you're at in life, right? And like, a big fear for me was like, well, what if you get a girlfriend and she's like, you're still talking to your wife, like your ex, right? And then there's all of a sudden like they have an issue with that, with our dynamic. And that was a big fear for me. And then of just like meeting his girlfriend now, she is so understanding and we talk so much. And it's so nice to be able to have that communication with her, because she reassures that a lot. And we're just kind of in the boat of, and we were just talking about this yesterday actually, is like, hey, none of us know what we're doing. None of us have done this before. So let's just all be in it together, very confused, and communicate what feels good and what doesn't.
Yeah. How else do you figure it out?
Well, I think there's a lot of freedom in that too, right? If we, like you said, you and your husband just took the scripts and said, well, throw away the monogamy script, even maybe a little bit throw away the polyamory script, and like, okay, we've got a blank sheet of paper. Let's just figure out what works for you, what works for me, what works for us. And then, we can obviously edit as we go, because we don't know. We don't know if it's going to work. We're assuming at that point. Yeah. I think I keep coming back to it. Like, I think it's amazing the way that you two kind of went through that shift, and your partners are also supportive of it. And I think it's fantastic.
Very grateful to see too, like how the dynamics are working between other people. And like, you get those little moments where it's just like that light of coming from the place of like fear and like scared you're going to lose that person that you love and all of these things. And then seeing moments like one time we were sitting in the hot tub. And this is when I was already dating my boyfriend and I was still with my husband at that point. And like my husband just like looks over at my boyfriend and he's just like, you know, if anybody is going to date my wife, I'm happy it's you. And I'm like, it just like filled my heart so much. Like, it's just those little moments of like connection. Or like one time we're all sitting around eating at the table and I just piped up because I'm random as fuck. And I'm just like, if I died, would you guys still live together? And they're both just like, yeah, we would. I'm like, oh, okay.
I love that. Well, and I'm curious, how did you three come to live together? Like that's again often another one of those fairly big milestones in a relationship.
Honestly, it just kind of happened like because my boyfriend and I do acro together. So he was over all the time. We were always like practicing the acro or like hanging out. And then one day my husband's just like, why doesn't he just like move in? He's here all the time anyways. So I'm like, okay. And it just kind of happened.
And how did that transition go? Did it go pretty seamlessly? Because that's a big shift.
Yeah.
For a lot of people.
I would say maybe it's big for us.
Well,
maybe
I think for a lot of people, we've talked to a lot of people that have done this and it doesn't work.
Yeah, totally.
So, yeah.
Well, I think we had a fair bit of resistance before he actually moved in, which again, a lot of communication, a lot of whatever. But like my husband had set boundaries of like, like after this time on weekdays, maybe the house being empty. So we like just worked with boundaries and stuff with that. And as we're respecting those boundaries, I guess like, just like we kind of worked out the resistance. So by the time the move in actually happened, it was already just like, whatever.
Yeah.
It went pretty smoothly.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah. Good.
So I'm a little bit curious as you're kind of talking about like some of these boundaries and a little bit of the agreements. When you as I kind of just said, you like started with a blank script here, and I'm curious what did you two create in terms of like how you and your husband want to relate together, what that like looks like, how you move through your day to day and your living and all of the different sort of mechanics that go into life. How did you all come up with a script that worked for you, and like what does it look like?
This is like a bit of like a path thing. Like at first when it shifted, it was very like he kind of shut me out a little bit emotionally. And I know that was just to protect himself.
Sure.
But like, so that part was kind of hard because it was just like, you do what you want, I do what I want. We still live together, pretty much just like roommates, whatever. We'd still talk. We still, that type of stuff. But like, it was like that deeper emotional connection that I felt kind of like separate from for a bit. But then we did get that back and like be able to, keep that deeper emotional connection. So now it just kind of, honestly, the only difference that I find right now between is not seeing him as much. Like if he's goes over to his girlfriend's. Sometimes his girlfriend comes and stays here, so that's a little different. And then other than that, pretty much we just don't fuck now. Yeah.
Well, I think it's helpful to kind of understand like what were the shifts, and it sounds like in some ways that for him, and I guess not trying to speak for him here, but like the shift, or like the demarcation between monogamy and non-monogamy sounds like it's more around physical intimacy than it is the emotional connection.
Mm-hmm. And I think that was something that we worked through as well, because that was kind of going through the thing where he had that bit of emotional disconnection from me. As I was like, I brought it up to him. I'm like, I still want to be able to talk to you and communicate with you. And like, I want to be able to, have what we had, like, even if it's not romantic or sexual anymore. And he's like, well, I'm monogamous. So I just want that with one person exclusively. And that kind of hurt, like hearing that. But I think that perhaps his mindset shifted on that a little bit because we've, like I said, gotten more of that connection back. And I think that too came from like just communicating. I've said that a million times, but that's what it all fucking boils down to, right? Is I'm like, but you have that type of connection with your best friends. So why is it just me that doesn't get it? Like, and like just having those type of conversations. And I guess we're both very open to like trying to understand each other's perspectives.
Yep.
So that's very helpful because it's like I try to, of course you get activated in the moment sometimes when something happens because you have all your own internal stuff happening. But then being able to step outside of that and like look from their perception and understand what they're trying to say, I feel like that's so powerful because that's what builds that deeper connection, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, without a doubt. Without a doubt. Yeah, and I love kind of just what you're saying in here around, or like what I'm taking away from it is like there's a bit of, or maybe a lot of flexibility that has to happen when we're making big shifts like this, right? To say, okay, it's changing like this, and there's a little bit of that like the pendulum swings. Like, okay, well, if we're not partners like romantically and sexually, then it like goes way over here, and then it's like there's a little bit of like, oh, well, maybe I didn't really need that. Like, here's where it like sort of finds a little bit of an equilibrium.
Mm-hmm.
And I see that in my own life all the time with different things. Like, okay, well, if I'm doing this, then it looks like this. And then it's like, well, but it doesn't have to. Like, I can soften it. And I love that it was like that you two are sort of playing in that flexibility, in that like, okay, well, we're just trying it out, seeing what works. And then we'll adapt and try something new and just keep talking about it along the way.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm also curious, you haven't mentioned kids, so I'm making an assumption that you do not have kids. Is that correct?
Do not have kids, no.
Yeah. That adds another layer, of course, right? So I was just curious.
We have dogs.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which
dogs,
is another, pet parents, which are still important, definitely important.
I'm guessing the dogs just want to get petted. They don't really care who's petting them.
Yeah. They don't give a shit.
Yep. So I'm also curious, Naomi, did you, in starting to kind of like step into your non-monogamous, your polyamorous identity, have you also been like dating and exploring outside of your relationship with your partner who's now moved in with you?
No, we've had obviously a lot of communication around that. And like what it boils down to for both of us, and this is just where we're sitting with it, is like, we don't want to go out looking for other partners.
Mm-hmm.
For me, polyamory is just like being able to explore that connection if it arises. Now, if I decided and that changes at some point, I can't speak for forever, right? But that's kind of where I'm sitting right now. And actually, I had this conversation with my husband a while back too, was he was like, so are you and Joel going to, that's my boyfriend. I do have permission to use their names too. So, but he's like, are you and Joel ever going, like, are you guys going to start dating other people or something? Because like right now it just feels like you left me for him. And I'm just like, at first in my brain, like I had a reaction like, I didn't leave you. You're the one. But they like had all that thing to work through, right? Because that shit happens. But then I'm just like, well, no. And then like I explained that to him. Like, it's just, I could have, like, if we would have, Brent is my husband, would have stayed together. I'm like, I could have just been like you, me, and Joel for the rest of my life. I don't know. It could just be me and Joel for the rest of my life. I'm okay with that. I'm happy with that. It's just the polyamorous part of me is just like, I just need to know I have the freedom to explore that if a connection like that surfaces. And Joel, it feels the same way, like same boat. Like we're not interested in going out seeking. It's more so just like being happy, living in the moment, and being able to move freely and not feel that shame and guilt if you make that connection. You know, you're sitting at a bar or whatever, and somebody comes up and starts talking to you, like, yeah, free to fucking explore, right?
Yeah.
Well, and I hear that also like linked back to, the version of you that you talked about in, grade school of like, I had a crush on two boys and then somebody was like, no, you can't do that. And like, I keep hearing this, like, it's about the freedom to do it, not this like, well, yeah, I liked two boys and then I was hoping to go find a third and then a fourth and then a fifth. It's more just, well, if a third one happens to move to town and I have a crush on him, like, I don't want that to be a bad thing. Like
Yeah.
that, it, yeah, that
Mhm,
I
mhm,
makes so much sense. And
mhm.
I'm curious, like, my own perspective is that this ties in really closely to the shame around it all. And I'm curious for you, have you felt as like you've stepped into this identity more that you've felt the shame like release a little bit, or does that still kind of come up for you?
Yes, I've definitely felt it release. I work on myself a lot. Like that's actually
Mhm.
something that I work with clients on as well, is like regulating your nervous system, releasing the things that surface for you. And I think that there's always deeper layers. Like I think that some of that is still present to be released, but I have come
Totally.
so far compared to where I was that now I'm just like, I don't know, and also, like, I've embraced this level of confidence in myself that I'm just like, I know I can handle those things as they come up. Like, I'm not afraid of the emotion, I'm not afraid of the fears or, jealousy or whatever surfaces. I'm like, "Hey, all of that." I think emotions are teachers. They're messengers. They're showing us something deeper to look at. So I think just being really aware of that, knowing how to self-regulate when I am feeling big feelings, like that's just how I move through those, right? So like yeah, the shame may surface, not so much anymore. I could see it coming back for like I do this thing sometimes where I future think and then I'm just like, whoa, let's go back to present. But like sometimes I'm like, well, what if Joel, my boyfriend, now goes on a date, like, I feel like there's gonna be jealousy present. I feel like whatever. I'm like, "Okay, that's okay. What's underneath it?" I'm like, I have a fear that I'm gonna be replaced. I have a fear that, I'll be less important. And so it's just about like recognizing those things, naming them. I'm a big one of the techniques that I teach all my clients is like if you have a big feeling or emotion or fear, say it out loud. It takes away its power. I'm like,
Mhm.
as soon as it's like voiced out, it's like, oh, okay, well, that's present, like, especially when you have the reassurance, which Joel is so good at that. Like, I come to him with anything and everything in my mind, and he's just so good at, like, holding the space for it, and, like, I'm like, "I don't need you to fix it, I just need you to hear it. That's it."
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, totally. Like there's so much power in that, right? So it's not like I'm afraid you're gonna leave me. And then he's like, don't worry, I won't. Like, no, that's not. It's more just like, I just need you to hear that that's what I'm afraid of. And that's it.
Yeah,
Like
Mhm.
yeah, you don't
yeah.
necessarily need that. And I think often that reassurance doesn't, well, for me, it doesn't really reassure, right? It's not about that. It'd
Yeah,
Mhm.
be
it's
nice if
about
it did though.
being heard and in the fears and also, noticing too, like when the patterns come up of like, oh, this is fear is coming up a lot, and then being able to talk about that and being with that and like why, what's that, like you said, what's underneath.
Mhm, and I think that is another thing, like, releasing shame around that too, is, like, shame of having certain feelings or certain fears
Oh,
sometimes. It's like, "Oh, okay, you're, polyamorous and you're, like, helping other people regulate their nervous system, teaching them all the techniques, but then now you're experiencing the big feeling," and it's like, I think just, like, I'm to the point now that I'm just like, "Yeah, that's what makes me qualified to fucking teach it. I know exactly how to navigate through it."
yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. It's not about making sure we don't ever feel the thing or we don't ever get dysregulated or, yeah, we never struggle. It's about what do we do in that moment and what happens when we step in the mud or the shit or whatever it is. So, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm, mhm. I'm curious, over the last several years that you've gone on this journey, how have you navigated it with other people in your life, friends, family, community?
Honestly, okay. Um, I just so once I realized I was polyamorous, accepted that about myself, I just kind of tossed it out on Facebook and just said, "Boom, drop the bomb and fucking navigate through the pieces," which that was like a whole new tornado all in itself, like but this time when that happened, I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, no, I know how to get through the tornado, though, because I got through the last one." Like, the last one is just like, follow your intuition, do what feels good for you, just flow with, you know the way through, even if everything's fucking confusing, tune into yourself, tune into your desires, see what feels good for you, like, follow your intuition. So when I dropped that bomb of coming out publicly on Facebook, I'm just like, I know how to get through it. It's fine. But it was again, a lot of feelings, a lot of whatever, because I had people coming or people saying things that weren't so very nice. But then there were also a lot of supportive people too. So I just focused on the supportive people and the people that were like, I don't fucking get it, but I still love you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And did you have conversations with anybody one-on-one before that? Or was that kind of just like, I'm just going to put it out here?
Trying to think. I think there was maybe like a couple close friends that I had the conversation with first. And then, just dropped the bomb. I didn't tell my family personally or nothing. I just fucking dropped the bomb and let shit happen. And actually I was raised very, very religious. So I expected a bit more of a reaction from like my siblings and stuff, but they all seemed to handle it fine. They was just like, you've always been fucking weird, so it just makes sense, I guess, Obviously they didn't say fucking, but
Yeah. Yeah, especially coming from that religious background and having a lot of, it sounds like you have several siblings and like wondering what that, I don't know, that's a lot. That's a lot to put yourself out there and then be like, well, we'll just see what happens.
Yeah.
Well, and like some of my siblings aren't on Facebook. Like they don't have that either. So I guess we went camping for my birthday and I just brought my boyfriend and my husband brought his girlfriend and we just kind of let him have it. We're just like, this is happening. And everybody reacted well. So I'm like, cool.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. I think it's really fun to see how you've just sort of like stepped into it and just been like, oh, this is me and I'm going to live me. And I know you've also talked to like, yeah, there are hard parts, there's shame, there's all of this, but like the way you've really embraced it is pretty amazing and incredible.
Thank you. Yeah. Again, lots of self-work, which I've done in the past before that. So at least I had some building blocks already to continue building off of. But I am very like, obviously I'm loving. I want people to be, happy and joyful. But I'm like, I'm not going to sacrifice pieces of myself for your comfort. So I'm just like, this is me. If you don't like it, that's okay. You're allowed to not like it. I still love you, but this is me and I'm not interested in hiding that.
Yeah.
Well, and I maybe want to like pick at this a little because you've also said, like, I know I kind of just said it a little bit flippantly, like, oh, you just kind of stepped into this, but you've also you said a few times, I've done a ton of self-work. I work on myself a lot. And I maybe wanted to just like give you the chance to talk about like what has some of that work looked like for you to get to this place where you are able to drop the Facebook bomb and step in and just say, here's who I am. Love me, don't love me, I will still love you. Like those are really powerful stances to take.
And honestly, I think it all just freedom has always been one of the deepest things that I value. And that's freedom for everybody to live how they want to live in alignment with what feels good for them. And I think that's why I'm so supportive of everybody being able to do, as long as you're not hurting anyone, live freely, do whatever the fuck you want. And I think that, it boiling the work that I've done on myself stemmed from that freedom. Because like I said, I was raised very religious. It was almost cultish. And I really desired freedom. I felt so restricted when I was younger. And I felt like, again, couldn't be myself. I felt like I was stuck in this thing that felt so restricting that I just wasn't happy with it. And like when I left that religion, I left it with the mindset of, I guess I'm just going to hell to burn forever because I can't live like this anymore. And so that in itself was like, I would say the first big move that I made that, and like, once I'm like, okay, I got myself. So like I moved out at 16 out of my house. And I was just like, I was okay. And so then I've just over time, like I'm really good at getting out of my comfort zone and like even wanting to come on here. Like when I reached out to you guys, I'm like, Joel was like, yeah, I couldn't do that. I couldn't be on a podcast. I'm too nervous. I'm like, I'm fucking nervous. I'm just really good at being like, I don't give a shit. I'm doing it because this is what I want to do, right?
Yeah. I love that. I think I just to say too, for myself, moving out at 16, stepping out of a high control religion. And like you said, you had the mindset of like, well, I guess this means I'm going to burn in hell. Like to me, that's a very scary thing to stare down at the age of 16 when you really think it. You're like, well, I cannot live under this control. And I guess what I accept then is an eternity of damnation. Like that's a powerful pull to take you away from that.
Yeah.
That itself is like, so when you said like the things that I've worked through, the mindset, a lot of it came from that. And that's not to say, like, I love my parents, still like love my parents. Well, my dad and I get along really well. My mom has passed away, but like we get along. Like it's not like it was nothing to do with them. It was just like the religious control. I just wanted to like preface that part, so it's not like I'm jumping on my family.
No. I totally. I appreciate the clarification, but the freedom, the pull for freedom when you don't have it. I mean, fine. I'll sign up for eternity to burn in hell to be free here. Like, good for you. That's powerful.
Well, I think too, like dropping the bomb of coming out publicly as polyamorous. That was another big, like I said, that was a big tornado, I call it. But it again was in the name of freedom. Like my brain was just like, I can't be the only one. I'm like, I know there's others out there, and I'm like, I will step into like the spotlight and get the whatever's coming. I don't care. I just want people to know, like, be fucking you. Be yourself. Fuck what everybody else thinks and just do what feels good for you. And when I did come out publicly, I actually had so many messages and people coming up to me and being like, yo, me too, me too. And I'm just like, it felt so good to just be able to be like, I love that for you. Like, I love that you feel comfortable coming to me and telling me this. And even if you're not out yourself yet, right? And that's, I don't know, the work I do, my life, like my mission is just everybody being able to move freely and feel comfortable doing it. That's why like the internal work I think is so important. And that's what I teach. Like, I know sometimes like I've had thoughts of like, oh, well, I've only awoken to being polyamorous like 3 years ago, but then coaching polyamorous people, I'm like, yeah, because I know the inner work. And I'm not like, hey, this is how you do polyamory, because honestly, there's no right way to do it. I'm about like helping people plug in to their desires and what they want and shedding all the shit that is not theirs and that doesn't feel good, that they don't want to hold on to, and like getting so clear into their desires and what they want and having the confidence and self-trust to fucking go for it.
Yeah. And you've been walking that walk for 20-ish years or so, right? So like that's not a new thing. You just, like, I read a book about how to do that. Like, you've lived it.
Yeah.
Powerful.
Well, and it's this, I know you said you went through the tornado coming out with all of that, but you had already gone through some of that. So like you said, that was kind of framing of like, I know what's possibly coming or likely coming, and I've survived something similar before.
Yeah.
And I think that goes back to confidence of like, I'm very confident that I can handle whatever comes my way whenever it does. I know I've got me. I'm safe. I've got me. Right. And that's, again, what I try, like what I want to support other people in gaining is like that confidence in themselves. I was like, hey, I got me. I'm okay.
Yeah. Brilliant.
Yeah.
Well, and maybe like a great feed in too to like what you've talked a bit about your work and what type of work you do, but like what does it look like for people to work with you? What can they expect? How do they find you? And then we'll kind of close up with another question or two.
Okay, yeah. So most of my work is like Facebook, Instagram. You can follow me, Naomi Laree. I post like a lot of content there. I do have a paid membership called the Empowered Polyamorous Portal. Right now, I'm not doing any one-on-one coaching or anything like that. It's just in that space where we do, again, a lot of that healing, energy work, mindset work. And then I do offer like free one-offs just to support people where I can. Like I have some free meditations that are still being put together, still being built, but there's some access there now. I think you guys were going to share the links on that.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And then like I always do like one-off things. Like for example, on the first I'm doing a nervous system reset. So it's going to be about like learning how to work with your nervous system, kind of like what I've explained so far of like tuning into yourself, that type of thing. I do like sound bowls and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so like I'm doing that and then adding in some like meditation things. So it's always like you can always access that stuff if you follow me because I share about everything that's coming up. So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I'm curious, kind of, is this work that you're doing? What inspired you to make this shift to do this work?
well, I've been a life coach for a long time, way before I found out I was polyamorous. But that shift was inspired again by freedom and wanting to support people. So I took training to become a life coach through like Tony Robbins or whatever. And then I realized how much mindset came along with that as well. So I took like more courses. I actually went through like a whole imposter syndrome thing where it's like, I have to learn more. I need more qualifications. So I've got lots of tools under my belt. And that, yeah, it's always been about supporting people, helping people. And then when I awoke to being polyamorous, that's when I really niched in on like, oh, this is it. This is where I want to like invest my energy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm excited for you and to see where this all goes as well. And how is the like running the community that you're doing? How is that going?
It's going good. It was still like small, intimate right now. Obviously, I want to expand it, grow, but I love being in there. I love our conversations. I love the authenticity. And like, it's really just a space of like, no judgment. Show up as you. There's like, just be authentic. And just holding that space for people to do that, especially when there's a lot of the time people don't feel like they have that space, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, and I think it also, to me, it speaks to a little bit of what you experienced when you put it out there on Facebook, right? Was other people reaching out and saying, oh, me too. And there's just so much power in that, like, oh, I'm not alone in this. Oh, yeah, there's others like me. That, for me, also really helps tamp down some of that shame, right? Like, it's still, I think for me, and I think in general, like, that shame is gonna hang out there. Like, I don't know that we can ever totally get rid of it. Maybe we can. I'm trying. But like, to know that, hey, we're not alone in this. There's others feeling this. That to me is where a lot of the power is. And I love that you've got a community as well that others can show up and talk to each other, have the conversations, know they're not alone, be in this world together. Like, oh yeah, I'm in the tornado. I was in the tornadoes last year. Like, hey, yeah, you can come out of the tornado and, oh, look at that. The tornado's back again. Look at that. So like, it's not a linear, like, no more tornadoes in life. Like, it's just, how do we ride them?
Yeah,
exactly. And yeah, like that's what I always say too, is I'm like, it's a journey. People are like, well, when am I done healing? I'm like, never. I'm like, there's just always going to be new layers. You'll just get better at handling it. You just learn how to navigate it better. So it's not so like, boom, smash you in the face. It's like you learn to ride the waves a little bit. So it's like, yeah, that's present, but it's okay that it's present. We're not trying to get rid of it. We're just learning how to work with it.
Yeah.
What is it showing us, right?
Yeah, exactly. Thank you for everything you shared today. I'm really curious if you happen to have a blooper or a story that shares that relationships don't really go all the time as
that wasn't apparent
as we plan on it. To continue to show that.
I don't know if this blooper really shows that specifically, but it is a funny blooper. I was like thinking about this when you guys had mentioned that you usually do bloopers at the end. I think I have a couple because one kind of came to mind. But the one I'm going to share is actually just a funny, fucked up story that just kind of shows how weird my boyfriend and I are. So my husband was dating this girl and she told us this story about how someone she knew didn't have a condom. So she pulled out a Ziploc bag and put it on this guy's dick and sucked his dick through a Ziploc bag. So me and my boyfriend decided, you know what? Let's fucking try it. Let's just see what it's like. So then it ended up, we did that. And then we decided we should probably try everything in the kitchen. And we tried saran wrap, a coffee filter, which just absorbed all my spit, and it was horrible. And then the worst one was the tin foil, though.
I was going to say, I was about to say, don't do the aluminum foil if you got fillings. That's not what you want.
Yeah, we tried it, but only once.
I mean, sometimes you gotta just check off that curiosity, right?
Oh, we're very good at that. We're very good at just doing the weird thing.
We know saran wrap and wax paper better than aluminum foil. That's oh my gosh, that's incredible. Okay. Also, I just want to say that's a first on the podcast.
Yeah.
After 450 episodes, to have somebody throw a first at us is a really fun time. So thank you for that. All right, you said you had a few. What other? I'm like, keep bringing them. These are amazing.
Okay, I have two. That one, yeah. Okay, that was one. The other one was just again a funny sex story. It was actually my first threesome that I had. It was with a friend of mine and a guy that I was seeing at the time, and we started, doing the deed, all three of us, and all of a sudden the door opens and her mom walks in holding a parrot. And she's just like, I'm just putting the bird away. And she puts the bird away. And then we're all just kind of stop what we're doing, just laying there okay. And then she just walks out and then we continue. So that was the first one that came to mind when you were talking about bloopers. I'm like, that's the only one I got. And then, my boyfriend mentioned the other one. I'm like, you're right. I should try that one.
Okay. So just a little bit of context. So what her mom walks in. Was this high school days? Was this I'm just curious, at what age does your mom wander into your bedroom with a bird while you're in there with two other people?
It was not high school. It was I was in my 20s. I would say.
Yeah, I keep asking you about time stuff. Why do I do this? I don't know why I keep doing this to you.
I don't know. I'm the worst person for it.
What day of the week was it?
What time exactly?
Yeah. What time does the bird need to be let out? Yeah, I think I'm focused on the wrong part of the story at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were just at her mom's house. Hanging out because her mom is cool as shit. We were having a fire, and then she still had her room there or whatever that she stayed over in. And
I'm bringing it. That's amazing.
Yeah.
She's I was gonna say, brings in the aluminum foil. I don't know if you guys need this, but it's awesome. Dropping the bird off and some kitchen tool utensils, no problem.
I love that.
Yeah.
This is fun. Well, thank you, Naomi, for coming on today, for sharing a bit of your story with us. And we haven't told people yet, but you're sticking around for the bonus question. So we've got a little bit more. I'm now really excited about the stories we're going to hear there. So listeners, you've got time to go sign up. And again, Naomi, thank you for being here today. Before we let you go, do you have any final thoughts, feelings, things you want to put out into the world?
Just thank you so much for having me. I'm so grateful to have been here. And I guess just for the listeners, be yourself, embrace all of you.
Yeah.
And keep trying new things.
Yes. Not tinfoil, maybe, but
not tinfoil. No. We've tested it, but I think you should test it for yourself. I believe in that.
Use tinfoil for other things in life.
Yeah. If you feel called to, do it.
Yeah. Get the press and seal. You get them all. All right. Well, have a lovely afternoon, and we'll see you in the bonus questions.
You too. Thank you.
And we're back.
Take 562.
Not quite true, but thank you so much, Naomi, for coming on and sharing your story. And thank you for all of the work you do as well. A quick reminder to listeners, go over to our website, click on the podcast tab, and you can find links to all of Naomi's work there.
And a huge thank you from my side as well, Naomi. And another reminder, listeners, while you're on our website checking out Naomi's work, if you are not already a premium subscriber and you want to hear the bonus content, the bonus episode with Naomi, you can sign up for our premium subscription right on our homepage. Scroll down to the bottom and you can sign up there for just $4 a month. We'd love to have you join us. The other thing we wanted to remind you all is that our next monthly community workshop is coming up on July 22nd. It's called Embracing Conflict with Becky Calloway and Melanie Rowan. It's going to be a fantastic workshop, and we'd love to have you join us. You can find out more information on that workshop and how to join our community over under the community tab of our website. And maybe one more thing while we got you here in the outro. One of the perks of our community is you also get access to the premium subscription that we've already been telling you about. So if you want that premium subscription and you want all this community stuff, you can get it all under the community subscription. So yeah, check that out. We'd love to have you join us.
And next week we have another interview. This time it's with Kayla. It's super fun.
It was a fantastic conversation. What a wild story we've got next week for you. So come back. We'll see you next week.
Bye, everyone. Thanks for listening.